I was raised in Ohio by my father's mother, my grandmother, but I lived with her so long I called her Mama. So these poems are dedicated to Mama. In the old ways, Mama taught me about gardening, cooking, canning, and sewing. I guess those were the things people survived with back in her day. Mama baked big fat white sugar cookies every week. I thought it was just to use up the milk going sour. It wasn't until years later I remembered the children from the slope, a non-working mining camp, seemed to be at our back door. No one saw much of Mama's temper except the family. She smiled at most of the town when we walked to do our chores. She didn't drive, so our feet carried us everywhere we needed to go. If we saw someone older than her doing chores, we took the time to see them home. Then she would fuss like a banny rooster about how some families just don't care. Some people saw it as vanity when Mama carried the biggest pot or the most pies to the church for funerals or special events. She just liked to cook and wanted people to have plenty. No one complained when the mill was on strike, and Miss Loretta always had a little extra in her kitchen. When my daddy's wife didn't want me, Mama covered my back. Papa's sister got sick and moved in. She was too weak to do for herself. Mama fed, bathed, and nursed her back to health. Hush mouth, she worked hard. She told me a secret once. You'll get your reward in heaven. On warm summer evenings, we would sit on the porch rocking the squeaky metal glider. Sweet honeysuckle entwined lattice grill behind our heads. We spent the evening batting away sweet bees. Family or neighbors passing on the lower road would either stop and chat or throw up a hand and holler hello. When we put our flannels, Mama would reach for her dog-eared Bible and read a book. She taught me to always kneel at the end of day. Mama's hands. I come to think of my Mama's hands as a special gift from God. They were coffee con leche brown with perfect almond-shaped nails. They were soft and had many wonderful smells, earthy from her garden, vanilla bean on baking day, lavender after her bath, and my favorite, evening in Paris on Sunday morn. Mama was a busy woman, up at 5 a.m. to fix Granddad's breakfast. She held my hand and walked me to the bank where she polished furniture and scrubbed the floors. And if Granddad didn't come, she fired the furnace and banked the coals. It was hard work, but it didn't make Mama's hands hard. She set a big pot on the stove to boil Argo blue starch. When she dipped her aprons, day dresses, her hands came out steaming. I asked, Mama, don't that hurt your hands? She answered, no, child, it's something you get used to. I don't think I could, but Mama got used to a lot of things. Her hands were always gentle, braiding my hair with ribbons to match the dresses she had made. Mama switched my behind if I misbehaved. I looked at her with big crocodile tears. She gathered me in her arms and whispered, I love you, child, but you got to behave. I grew to be a good woman. When I was sad and down, I went to Mama and sat on her lap and cried on her shoulder. She held and rocked me, promising, It's okay, girl. It'll be all right. When I was 25, Mama raised her hand and pushed me back. She said, girl, it's time to stand on your own 2 feet. I looked at that hand and knew it was time for me to become a woman. Mama got old and forgot a lot of things. She shriveled away, but her hands stayed beautiful until the day she died. When I looked at those hands, I remembered the woman she had been, all the things she had taught me, and all the love that came from my mama's hands. William Henry Harris. Uncle Billy was my great-great-uncle. He lived across the alley from Mama, Papa, and me. His ramshackle house was gray-stained and in need of paint. He lived alone except for the occasional mouse. Uncle Billy was extremely tall and quite fit for a man of his age. He wore a shock of pure white hair that was accentuated by his chestnut brown skin. He had a ready smile for all he met, for he was a pleasant man. At 5, I would sit on his high front porch and we rocked in his ceiling-hung swing. He taught me to chew tobacco and spit. That didn't make Mama very happy. No, not one bit. When I got big enough, I was allowed to carry across his evening meal if I promised not to eat anything he cooked. I promised. Mama never knew Uncle Billy could make a mean oyster stew. His one eye twinkled as he told his tale of where the other eye went. One day it may have been blinded by a peach seed pit. It may have been hit by a baseball bat. For certain, we never ever knew. When he was 100, they found Uncle Billy lying in his backyard dead. His hands were dirty, and he was lying in his neat little garden bed. The long drive home. When I received the call to come home, my feelings ran the gamut of sadness and fragility. Why can death not be defeated or subdued until we mortals are prepared? I traveled the highway, my brain on overload, busy cataloging and collecting thoughts of the canvas we called home. The little 2-story white frame house sitting at the base of gentle rolling Ohio hills. I shivered at the jostled memories scrambling round and round inside my head, for Cynthia Bush switches for my errant legs, loving kisses for all my little accidents, and enough embraces to shame a bear. I remember a flower garden created by Mama's knowing hands. Ground-kissing apple trees gently dropped their loads. The ancient arbor abundant with sagging vines of white and purple Concord grapes. We raced those hills as young hooligans. Her yard was our childhood palace. I sailed on the single-board hemp swing and hid beneath the arbor vines. My mind tasted hot, tart applesauce on homemade buttered bread. Do they still remember calling out her name, all the stray children she once fed? I know I have Mama's forgiveness for not coming sooner, but it was such a long drive home. And my signature poem, Mistress Eliza Jane. Mistress Eliza Jane, Richmond, Virginia, 1860. Mistress Elizabeth Ann says, I must wear this long gray frock to cover my skinny black legs. And I must wear this dust cap to hide my thick, crinkly hair. And I must never pass a long, cold drink or a plate of food unless my hands are deep inside these pure white gloves. Miss May says I ought to be glad to be in the house and not out in the field. Well, I suppose I am grateful to be a dining maid. But let me tell you a secret. When the moon is full, things will change. No matter my skin is dark as inky night, and I can neither read nor write, I will wear a thick fat braid round my head for all to see, and I will wear a gown of silk and lace, and I will lift my ungloved hand to the dining maid and speak my name. Mistress Eliza Jane wishes dinner served. As the night enwraps me with the dawn of the sun and the crowing of the rooster good morn, I don my long gray frock to cover my skinny black legs, and I pierce my hands deep inside these pure white gloves, and I answer to the name Eliza Jane, the dining maid.